Hey guys, Billy Ray here. Welcome back out in the garage. I want to talk a little bit about cam bearings. It was a cam bearing little issue that a gentleman had, and he was discussing it with me a little bit. And and I have a way of thinking about this. Okay, I don't know what really actually happened, but I have my own little theories. It's like we all have little theories when we hear stories about little things that didn't work or worked out right. So what happened was this guy took his 351 Cleveland block and heads to a machine shop to have the block prep done, to have the cylinder heads done, and he's going to do his own assembly. Nothing wrong with that. So apparently, and this is the way I got the story, was he got all that back. The block prep's all done. The cylinder heads are done. He brought it, to his garage or his shop, anyway, to his house, okay, let's say, and he was ready to go ahead and do the assembly. So he already did the final clean. He did a final clean on it, got it all set up. He laid the crank went in perfectly, it spun good, and he went to install the cam, but it was like tight. Okay, it was almost like it wouldn't really want to go in when he got all the way in, like it wouldn't make that last part, and it was tight. So he of course didn't try to drive it in or anything. He figured, well, maybe the cam journal itself, on the cam, maybe there's something that's a little bit oversized or something, maybe polished down, or maybe the cam bearing is, has a little nick or something. So anyway, he called the shop that did the work, and they told him, well, go ahead and bring the block back and bring the cam you're going to run, and we will mic all that, and we'll check everything. We'll make, and that way they can make it all right. We'll find out what's wrong. So, here's the part that kind of made me, think or whatever. So he took the block back, took the camshaft back, and they called him that evening. And they said, hey, you're good to go. Cam fits nice. What they did was they installed a set of 351 Windsor bearings in his 351 Cleveland block, and when they test fit it, they didn't have his cam, so they had a Windsor cam there and test fitted it with a Windsor cam they had, and it turned nice. And so they ended up, of course, they said they knocked all those bearings out and knocked in another set of Cleveland bearings and got his cam, and it works fine. And now, my problem with this is, I don't really have a problem with it. It was just, like I say, it was just a thing that was brought up. It's all taken care of, so it's really not a problem anymore. But because if you build engines and you do a lot of the stuff, your wheels turn or stuff happens to you when you're hearing these stories. Right? Well, number 2 bearing, number 3 bearing, number 4 bearing, number 5 bearing on a 351 Windsor and a 351 Cleveland are the same. The only bearing different is the first bearing. And the number 1 bearing on a Cleveland is actually larger than the Windsor. A Windsor bearing, will actually fall right through the front journal of a Cleveland. So I'm thinking, okay, they said they put Windsor bearings in, but that first bearing wouldn't even have made it to the guy's house. It probably would have just fell out if they were trying. They would have to super glue it in there or something. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking, well, there's something weird about this story. Then I'm thinking, well, maybe they did put Cleveland bearings in it. They put the right ones in the first time, but maybe they didn't test fit it. But I can't say that. I wasn't there, so I can't say that. So the only reason why I'm bringing this up, kind of bringing this up is because if this does happen somehow, because you can't put a Cleveland front bearing in a Windsor block, it won't even start. I mean, it's huge compared to that journal of a Windsor, but you can put 2, 3, 4, and 5 bearing in. So there was no reason really to knock out all those bearings. They could have just changed the front bearing and then tried it, but if they did have problems, they'd say, okay, let's just knock them all out since we already got the other set. But, so I'm just thinking, there's just something wrong with this whole picture, but it all got resolved, and I think everybody's happy and the whole thing. So, probably my point is, the bearings are all the same except for the front bearing. So if you ever have a broken set, let's say, you can make you a full set. If you had a couple of broken sets, you could probably make you a full set of Windsor or Cleveland bearings, as long as you have the correct number 1 bearing, because all the rest are the same. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because it kind of, again, things happen. I'm sure I'm not the only one that this happens to, but you're driving or you're just kicking back or whatever, and you start thinking about stories and stuff you hear about or read or whatever, and this was one of them, and it's kind of got to me, because I've knocked in billions over the years, cam bearings, and sometimes you knock them in and cam don't turn, and you have the correct ones in and they just doesn't turn right, and you have to actually knock them out. And I went through that with a Dodge block before. I knocked like 3 or 4 sets in it. I actually ended up calling Dodge and finding out, but they just said you should never knock them out unless you have to. They said because they actually have offset bearings from factory. So sometimes you have to go in there and blue them. We call them blue, and then you have to get a little scraper. You might have to cut a little bit just to free things up. I've actually went as far as honing a bearing a little bit. Some people disagree with that and say never do that, but I haven't had a problem with it. But I do have this little hone deal I use that I've actually went in there and had to do that if it was just a little bit to where I wasn't comfortable, and I would try that little hone thing. If that freed it right up and everything turned out nice, then that's what I did. But and it's no secret, okay? There's other guys that do this same thing that I even know of that do little things like this, and because there's a point where you can knock in bearings all day long and they may not ever, okay? Because the tunnel can be off a little bit too, So anyway, this is just one of those deals where I just want to talk about the cam bearings, because that one struck me funny, because they said they've stuck the Windsor bearings in the Cleveland block. I was thinking, well, you can 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not number 1. So there was just something weird about the whole story, my thing. So anyway, again, just remember, Cleveland has their own part number, Windsor has their own part number, but 4 of the bearings are the same, just the front one is different, okay? Anyway, that's that, and I got a lot of little things I want to talk about. I'm back from my trip, so I did a lot of talking. It was 7,800 miles I just did, and I was hoping to do some YouTube while I was out there, but the whole trip was a little different than I thought it was going to be. So I didn't do what I was hoping to do. But anyway, I talked to a lot of people, and I got to listen about their combos. I got to take rides in their, got to go for rides in their hot rods and stuff, and it was really, really cool, and a lot of bench race and everything. So anyway, I got a lot of little things I'm probably going to want to talk about. So anyway, just stay tuned and keep checking in, because I'm going to get back on, now that I'm back, I have like 3 builds I was right in the middle of before I left, and I need to get back on those. So I'll probably be showing something there. So anyway, I just want to bring up that cam bearing thing. It just struck me kind of funny. Alright, until next time, you guys be safe out there as always. Alright, and I'll catch you on round number 2. Thanks.